The day the aliens decided to conquer Earth was, ironically, the same day Jack Novak had finally gathered the courage to quit his dead-end government job. His resignation letter sat in his pocket, folded with the precision of someone who'd been rehearsing this moment for months. Then the sky filled with ships that looked like someone had crossbred a cheese grater with an octopus. "So much for 2 weeks' notice," Jack muttered, watching as the enormous mothership positioned itself over Manhattan, casting Central Park in shadow. The vessels weren't just hovering, they were posing, like cosmic Instagram influencers waiting for the perfect lighting. Jack's phone buzzed. It was his boss, Director Pelham, whose normal communication style consisted exclusively of passive-aggressive emails. "Novak. Pentagon. Now, bring coffee." That's how Jack, a 32-year-old communications specialist, whose greatest achievement to date was optimizing the Defense Department's internal memo template, found himself in a room with 4-star generals, the president, and a holographic alien whose head resembled a cross between a pineapple and a disappointed father. "People of Earth," the alien's voice boomed across every screen on the planet. "I am Supreme Commander Jack of the Vraxian Dominion. Your primitive civilization now belongs to us. Resistance is, what's your charming little phrase?" "Ah, yes. Resistance is LOLL." The president leaned toward the Secretary of Defense. "Did an alien just say LOL out loud?" Jack grimaced. "They've been monitoring our broadcasts. Badly. Pori." G continued, "You have 6 Earth hours to formally surrender, after which we will begin what you might call a hostile takeover with extreme prejudice. Please prepare your dignitaries for the surrender ceremony, which we will broadcast across the galaxy. The Vraxian Dominion has conquered 17 civilizations. You shall be our 18th trophy." The transmission ended, leaving the room in stunned silence until the president turned to his assembled experts. Options? What followed was arguably the most disastrous diplomatic response in human history. The UN sent a hastily assembled delegation that included a reality TV star, 3 politicians currently under investigation for corruption, and due to a scheduling mix-up, an Elvis impersonator who thought he was performing at a Las Vegas convention. Jack watched the proceedings from the Pentagon's communications hub, face planted firmly in his palms. "Are we seriously sending a guy in a rhinestone jumpsuit to negotiate Earth's survival?" He asked no one in particular. The Elvis guy was actually a last-minute addition, his colleague Mira Patel explained, adjusting her glasses. The delegation's original translator got food poisoning from the stress eating 16 gas station burritos. "We're doomed." The aliens, for their part, seemed increasingly confused by humanity's approach to imminent conquest. Their initial demands for Earth's surrender were met with questions about their stance on climate change, requests for selfies, and an impromptu performance of Burning Love. "Great Void," Commander Jack muttered to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Draz. "Are they taking this seriously? The Zorgonians at least tried to bribe us with rare minerals before we obliterated them." "Perhaps it's a sophisticated psychological tactic," Draz suggested. The confusion only deepened when the president finally addressed the Vraxian commander directly. "While we appreciate your interest in Earth, we must respectfully decline your offer of total subjugation. Instead, we propose a cultural exchange program and possibly a limited trade agreement for non-military technology." Commander Jack's face tentacles twitched in what xenobiologists would later identify as the Vraxian equivalent of a stress aneurysm. "This is not a negotiation," Jack responded. "This is your extinction event." "Yes, well," the president continued, "we've had those scheduled before. Perhaps we could discuss this over dinner? I'm told you might enjoy our cuisine. We have something called Hot Pockets that I think might align with Vraxian palates." Back at the Pentagon, Jack watched the exchange with a mixture of horror and fascination. Military options were limited. The alien ships seemed impervious to conventional weapons, and the world's nuclear powers were hesitant to launch missiles at vessels currently parked over major population centers. "We're going to die because our leaders think they can feed Hot Pockets to space octopi," Jack groaned. But something odd was happening. The longer the bizarre negotiations continued, the more visibly uncomfortable the Vraxians became. Commander Jack's tentacles were now twisting around each other like anxious snakes. End transmission. Jack finally barked, and the communication feed cut off abruptly. "That went well," the president said, turning to his advisors. I think they're reconsidering. In the Vraxian mothership, Commander Jeek was indeed reconsidering the intelligence reports that had described humans as a reasonable species with predictable responses to threats. What in the 7 moons is wrong with these creatures? He demanded. They respond to annihilation with Elvis music and processed food offers. Is this some form of madness we're not familiar with? Lieutenant Draz reviewed the data. Our cultural analysts are confused, sir. Humans appear to simultaneously fear death and make constant jokes about it. They create apocalyptic entertainment for fun. They have thousands of scenarios for alien invasions in their fiction, yet seem genuinely surprised that we exist. Are they dangerous? Inconclusive, sir. But they're definitely unsettling. Jack was reassigned to monitor alien communications while the world's governments continued their spectacularly ineffective diplomatic efforts. It wasn't a promotion so much as you're expendable enough that if you accidentally provoke them into vaporizing the planet, we haven't lost our best people. His new workspace was a retrofitted supply closet with equipment hastily assembled from 3 different government agencies. The air smelled like floor cleaner and desperation. If anyone asks, this is now the Department of Extraterrestrial Communications Analysis, Director Pelham had informed him. Your job is to figure out how they're broadcasting and if there's anything useful we can learn. Jack spent the first day attempting to trace the aliens' signal pathways. On day 2, fueled by nothing but vending machine coffee and the existential dread that comes with knowing humanity's days are numbered, he discovered something interesting. They're using our own satellite network to amplify their broadcasts, he told Mira, who had been reassigned as his assistant. And they're not even being careful about it. They basically just hijacked our infrastructure without changing any of the backdoor access points. So what does that mean? Mira asked. It means, Jack said, a slow grin spreading across his face, that we can hijack them right back. What happened next was, technically speaking, an accident. Jack was attempting to test the vulnerability by sending a small data packet through the alien communication system, nothing harmful, just a ping to confirm his theory. But in his sleep-deprived state, he attached the wrong file. Instead of a simple text string, Jack broadcast what happened to be in his temporary download folder, a compilation of cat videos, 3 episodes of Real Housewives of New Jersey, a collection of outdated memes, and most catastrophically a YouTube playlist called Humanity's Most Embarrassing Moments. Oh no, Jack whispered as he realized what he'd done. He frantically tried to terminate the transmission, but it was too late. The content was streaming directly into the Vraxian communication system. Aboard the mothership, chaos erupted. What is this? Infection. Commander Jeek demanded as their view screens filled with humans falling off skateboards, cats knocking objects off shelves, and reality TV contestants throwing drinks at each other. It appears to be a data weapon, sir. A panicked technician reported. It's bypassing our filters through the primitive broadcast network we commandeered. Shut it down. But the damage was done. For 17 critical minutes, the entire Vraxian fleet was exposed to the most confusing aspects of human culture, compressed into a high-intensity digital assault. The broadcast finally cut off, leaving the Vraxian command center in stunned silence. One junior officer was caught attempting to recreate what humans called a dance move from something labeled TikTok. Commander, Lieutenant Draz said carefully, I believe we've been subjected to psychological warfare. On Earth, Jack was preparing for summary execution, or at least extreme demotion. Instead, he found himself being escorted to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Novak, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, said gravely, what you did was unauthorized, reckless, and potentially catastrophic. Jack swallowed hard. Yes, sir. It was also the only thing that's given us any advantage. The chairman gestured to a screen showing the Vraxian fleet. Several ships were now flying in erratic patterns, and their previously coordinated positions had dissolved into what looked like confusion. Whatever you sent them, it disrupted their operations more effectively than any military option we've tried. I sent them cat videos and reality TV, sir. The room fell silent. Then the Secretary of Defense started laughing, a sound so unexpected that several aides instinctively reached for their weapons. Congratulations, Novak. You've just been promoted to Director of Cultural Warfare. I don't know what the hell that is, but figure it out and do more of it. Cultural warfare, sir. The aliens can withstand our missiles, but apparently not our memes. Work with that. Jack's new department was hastily assembled in an abandoned WeWork office that still had motivational posters on the walls. His team consisted of Mira, 3 military communications specialists, a disillusioned YouTube content moderator named Devin, a game streamer who went by Laserwolf, and a 58-year-old librarian named Margaret, who had been included because she had the most comprehensive understanding of human information organization. "Welcome to Operation Content Bomb," Jack announced to his bewildered team. "Our mission is to drive alien invaders insane using the worst of human culture." "So we're going to TikTok them to death?" Devin asked. "Essentially, yes." The team worked frantically, assembling what they called cultural payload packages, curated collections of humanity's most addictive, confusing, and mind-numbing content. They had discovered that the Vraxians processed information differently than humans. What was merely distracting to a human brain could be cognitively overwhelming to Vraxian neural structures. "It's like giving someone who's never had sugar a straight shot of high-fructose corn syrup," Mira explained. "Their brains just don't know how to filter it." Their first coordinated attack included an endless loop of infomercial fails, every conspiracy theory video from the past decade, the entire Sharknado franchise, 72 hours of unboxing videos, something Laserwolf described only as the cursed side of fanfiction. "Launch it," Jack ordered, and the digital package infiltrated the alien fleet through their still vulnerable communication systems. The effect was immediate and spectacular. 3 smaller Vraxian vessels began flying in figure eights. The mothership's threatening hover over Manhattan developed a noticeable wobble. "Sir," a Pentagon analyst reported, "we're picking up unusual communications from the Vraxian fleet. They appear to be arguing." Indeed, the Vraxians were experiencing the first stages of cultural contamination. Their rigid hierarchical society had no defense against the chaotic individualism embedded in human entertainment. "I fail to see the strategic purpose of unboxing," one Vraxian officer argued. "Yet I cannot stop watching humans remove items from cardboard containers. The shark tornado phenomenon defies meteorological logic," another insisted, "but suggests humans have weather control technology we haven't detected." Commander Jeek was losing control. "Focus. They're attacking our cognitive centers with this content." But it was too late. Junior officers were now quoting reality TV catchphrases during military operations. Someone had attempted to recreate sourdough starter in the bioscience lab. An entire engineering section was debating whether the blue-gold dress was actually blue or gold. On Earth, Jack's team monitored the confusion with grim satisfaction. "Phase 1 is working," he reported to Pentagon leadership. "Their military coordination is breaking down." "What's Phase 2?" the chairman asked. Jack smiled. "We escalate to streaming original content." The team's next creation was a masterpiece of psychological manipulation, a reality competition show called Earth's Next Top Alien, featuring actors pretending to be various extraterrestrial species competing for humanity's approval. It was deliberately designed to be as addictive and provocative as possible, filled with artificial drama and cliffhangers. "The Vraxians won't be able to tell it's fiction," Mira explained. "Based on their communications, they already think The Bachelor is how humans select mates." They broadcast the first 3 episodes directly to the alien fleet. The effect surpassed their wildest expectations. Within hours, the Vraxian communication channels were flooded with reactions. Some officers were taking sides on which alien contestant should win. Others were outraged at the unfair elimination of a character resembling their own species. Most disturbingly for Commander Jeek, discipline was rapidly deteriorating as crew members began mimicking the speech patterns and gestures of their favorite contestants. "This is intolerable," Jeek raged. "We are Vraxians, conquerors of worlds." Not fans. But even as he said it, he caught himself wondering whether the Andromeda contestant would finally reveal her backstory in the next episode. The first signs of serious fracture in the Vraxian command structure came when a minor communications officer named Krill began signing off his official reports with YOLO and like and subscribe. He was promptly removed from duty, but the damage was spreading. Younger Vraxians, particularly those assigned to monitor Earth broadcasts, were increasingly adopting human slang, mannerisms, and most alarmingly human concepts like personal choice and entertainment for entertainment's sake. Lieutenant Draz reported the growing problem to Commander Jeek. "Sir, we have a cultural contamination situation that's approaching critical levels. Officers are using Earth expressions, modifying their uniforms and questioning direct orders with phrases like 'that's just your opinion, and I'm just saying.'" "This is absurd," Jeek growled. "We are a civilization that has existed for 12,000 years with perfect discipline and unity of purpose." "Yes, sir," Draz agreed. "But have you seen the latest episode of Earth's Next Top Alien?" The plot twist was he stopped himself, tentacles curling in embarrassment. "I mean, some officers have been discussing it, sir." Jeek narrowed his compound eyes. "You've been infected too." On Earth, Jack's team was pushing harder. Their reality show now included confessional segments where the alien contestants criticized the Vraxian Empire's outdated conquest policies and suggested that cultural exchange is the true path to galactic harmony. "We're essentially broadcasting propaganda disguised as entertainment," Jack explained to the president. "And they're consuming it faster than we can produce it." "Is it working?" the president asked. In answer, Jack pulled up intercepted Vraxian communications. Ship captains were openly questioning Commander Jeek's orders. Junior officers were decorating their quarters with Earth imagery. Someone had started a petition to replace standard ration cubes with something called pizza. "We're seeing the beginning of a cultural revolution," Jack said. "They're starting to value our chaos." The breaking point came when 3 Vraxian scout ships broke formation and positioned themselves between the mothership and Earth. "What is the meaning of this?" Commander Jeek demanded. The response came from Captain Nez, previously one of Jeek's most loyal officers. "We're protecting Earth's cultural resources, sir. Humanity may be technologically inferior, but they're like creativity goals." "Did you just say goals as a standalone concept?" Jeek was apoplectic. "I did indeed, sir, and I stand by it. Humanity deserves a chance to keep making content. We're trending toward a more enlightened form of conquest, one where we subscribe rather than subjugate." The transmission ended, and within hours the Vraxian fleet had divided into 2 factions: traditionalists who remained loyal to Jeek and his conquest agenda, and the self-proclaimed new wave who advocated for preserving Earth culture primarily so they could continue consuming it. The first direct contact came from Captain Nez, who requested a secure channel to Jack's team. "Greetings, content creators," the Vraxian said, attempting to do a human hand gesture despite having tentacles. "We wish to defect. Your binge-worthy transmissions have opened our eye clusters to new possibilities." Jack exchanged looks with his team. "You want to join humanity?" "We want to follow and like humanity," Nez corrected, "and perhaps collaborate on future content. But first we must deal with the traditionalist faction who still wish to conquer your world the old-fashioned way." "And you're willing to fight against your own kind?" Mira asked skeptically. Captain Nez's tentacles rippled in what they would later learn was the Vraxian equivalent of an eye roll. "Have you seen what Commander Jeek watches? Classic conquest documentaries from 5 centuries ago. His playlist hasn't been updated since before we conquered the Betelgeusians. He's totally cringe. And that's how Earth gained its first alien allies, through the power of FOMO." Admiral Korzak, the highest-ranking officer to defect from Jeek's forces, turned out to be something of a savant when it came to human culture. Within days of establishing regular communication with Earth, he had developed an encyclopedic knowledge of human entertainment and an almost concerning obsession with 1990s sitcoms. "The one called Friends," he explained earnestly to Jack during a strategy session. "It has taught me more about human social dynamics than all our previous reconnaissance combined. The mating rituals alone. Maybe we focus on the impending space battle?" Jack suggested. The defectors provided critical intelligence, the location of the mothership's shield generators, communication vulnerabilities, and perhaps most importantly, Commander Jeek's personal viewing habits. "He watches your military documentaries secretly," Admiral Korzak revealed. "He believes they contain your true strategic thinking. He is particularly obsessed with something called Sharktopus vs. Whale Wolf." Jack pinched the bridge of his nose. That's not a documentary. That's a monster movie with terrible special effects. Precisely, Korzak's tentacles wiggled with excitement. He believes you have created hybrid bioweapons. He fears you are developing a Sharktopus division. This information proved invaluable as Earth prepared its counter-offensive. While traditional military options were still limited, Jack's team developed a daring plan that played directly into Zeke's misconceptions. Operation Trojan Meme, Jack briefed the Joint Chiefs. We'll send a transmission claiming we're surrendering, but the message will contain embedded content specifically designed to distract Zeke's forces at key moments. Meanwhile, a small team will infiltrate the mothership using access codes provided by our defectors. The infiltration team included Jack, Mira, 2 Special Forces operatives, and at his own insistence Laserwolf, who claimed his thousands of hours playing Mass Effect had prepared him for alien spacecraft navigation. Their mission was to reach the mothership's central communication hub and broadcast a signal that would give Earth control of the Vraxian weapon systems. As they prepared to depart in a modified Vraxian shuttle, Director Pelham pulled Jack aside. If this goes sideways, Novak, I just want you to know, this was technically all your fault to begin with. Thanks for the vote of confidence, sir. The approach to the mothership was tense but uneventful, their shuttle identified as friendly by the increasingly confused Vraxian defense systems. Once aboard, they navigated the massive vessel's labyrinthine corridors using Admiral Korzak's directions. According to the defectors, we should expect minimal resistance, Mira whispered as they moved through the ship. Most of the crew is either watching Earth broadcasts or engaged in the civil conflict. They encountered a group of Vraxian officers who were too engrossed in a heated debate about whether pineapple belongs on pizza to notice the human infiltrators. Another section was completely empty except for a hastily scrawled sign that read "Gone to practice TikTok dances, back in 20 kerns." This is simultaneously the most ridiculous and most effective invasion in human history, Jack muttered. When they finally reached the communication hub, they found it protected by only 2 guards who were instantly distracted when Laserwolf projected what he called the ultimate rickroll onto their monitors. Inside the hub, Mira quickly went to work accessing the Vraxian systems while Jack prepared the special broadcast that would turn the tide. How much longer? Jack asked, nervously eyeing the door. Almost there, Mira replied, her fingers flying over the alien interface. These systems are actually quite similar to ours, just with more tentacle-friendly controls. Alarm began blaring, and red lights pulsed throughout the chamber. That's not good, Laserwolf observed unnecessarily. Commander Gizik's voice boomed over the intercom. Attention, human infiltrators. Your primitive attempt at subterfuge has failed. Prepare to be wait. Is that a new episode of Earth's Next Top Alien? No. Focus. Prepare to be eliminated. Now, Mira. Jack shouted. Mira slammed down on the final control, and their prepared message began broadcasting throughout the entire fleet. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense, it was something far more potent. The final episodes of every reality show, competition, and drama series they'd been feeding to the Vraxians, all at once, with carefully crafted cliffhangers that demanded immediate attention. As the broadcast went out, the mothership's systems came under Earth's control. The humans had effectively performed a hostile takeover via binge-watching. The final confrontation between Commander Zeke and the human allied Vraxians took place not on a battlefield but in what could only be described as the galaxy's most awkward Zoom call. Zeke, his authority now restricted to a dwindling number of loyalist ships, glared at the assembled representatives of Earth and the defectors. His face tentacles were twisted into what xenobiologists would later identify as the Vraxian expression for completely done with this situation. This is not how conquest works, he seethed. 12,000 years of Vraxian expansion, and never have we been defeated by entertainment. That's because you've never encountered humans before, Jack replied, trying to look more confident than he felt. With Earth's military forces now in control of the mothership's weapon systems, they had reached a stalemate. Jake couldn't conquer Earth without risking destruction from his own former fleet. But Earth couldn't force the remaining loyal Vraxians to stand down completely. What do you propose? Gizik asked finally. Annihilation? Is that the human way? Actually, Jack said, we'd like to offer you a streaming deal. The negotiations that followed would later be taught in both Earth and Vraxian diplomatic academies as either the most brilliant or most absurd peace treaty in galactic history, depending on who was teaching the class. The final terms were simple. 1. The Vraxian Empire would recognize Earth's independence and sovereignty. 2. Humans would provide the Vraxians with ongoing access to Earth entertainment and cultural products. 3. In exchange, the Vraxians would share non-military technology and serve as Earth's allies in galactic affairs. 4. Commander Jeek would be given an executive producer credit on Earth's next top alien and allowed to judge one episode per season. "This is unprecedented," Jeek complained during the signing ceremony. "The Vraxian Dominion has never been defeated, let alone forced into a content licensing agreement. Think of it as aggressive cultural merger," the president suggested. "Besides, our analytics show that Vraxian viewership has boosted our streaming numbers by 8,000%. Our entertainment industry hasn't been this excited since they invented unnecessary reboots." 6 months after what became known as the broadcast invasion, Earth had established itself as the entertainment capital of the local galactic cluster. Vraxian ships no longer came to conquer but to pick up the latest releases and participate in cultural exchange programs that looked suspiciously like vacation packages. Admiral Korzak, now the Vraxian ambassador to Earth, had become something of a celebrity himself, hosting a wildly popular talk show called That's So Earth, where he reacted to human customs with exaggerated tentacle gestures. Jack found himself in the strange position of being both a planetary hero and the head of Earth's most unusual defense department. The former supply closet had been upgraded to an entire floor of the Pentagon, where his team continued to monitor alien communications and develop what they now called cultural diplomacy assets. "Did you ever deliver your resignation letter?" Mira asked him one day as they watched a live feed of Vraxian tourists taking selfies at the Grand Canyon. Jack laughed. "Somehow it didn't seem relevant after I accidentally prevented Earth's conquest with cat videos." "Do you think other aliens will try to invade?" "Probably," Jack admitted. "But the Vraxians have been spreading the word that we're dangerously entertaining. Apparently 3 other conquering species have changed course after receiving sample packages of our content." In his private office, which still had a mop bucket in the corner, despite multiple requests to have it removed, Jack kept a special memento, a small Vraxian communication device given to him by a grateful Admiral Korzak. It occasionally lit up with messages from their alien allies, mostly recommendations for Earth shows or requests for explanations of human idioms. The latest message read simply, "Your memes have been classified as a Class 5 cognitive hazard by the Galactic Council. 17 species have filed diplomatic protests. The Zorgonians are demanding access to something called cat TikToks." "Congratulations?" Jack smiled as he composed his reply. "Welcome to the internet. Like and subscribe." Outside his window, a Vraxian tourist ship hovered over the Washington Monument, its hull decorated with bumper stickers from every national park. Humanity had found its improbable place in the galaxy not through military might or technological superiority, but through its chaotic, addictive, utterly human culture. And somewhere in deep space, Commander Jeek was secretly binge-watching the latest season of Earth's Next Top Alien, his tentacles wrapped around a bowl of microwave popcorn, wondering where exactly his conquest had gone so terribly, hilariously wrong.